What's up, comic fans? And it's time for that new comic book day haul plus review. So we got some 50 centers. We've got, it's been a while. What has it been? 3 weeks, 4 weeks since I did one of these. So we got all those books. Plus we got the 50 centers and the pickups from this week. And we're gonna do it all right after this.
Spartans! What is your profession?
We got Spawn 348. Alright, Spawn is still trying to figure out a way to take over hell and stop heaven and hell from destroying the earth. Alright, next up we've got The Deviant. This is issue number 2. I believe issue number 3 came out this week. We got another killing. It's a decent book. It's a good book. It's a good read. Again, it's James Tynion the fourth doing some really good writing. It does well without, it's a drama or psychological thriller maybe. It does really well though with just the writing. It doesn't rely, and the art is really good too, but it doesn't rely on action. It relies on the characters and their reactions and actions with each other, not just punch them up like Batman, which is the next book. So we're switching gears, we're going to DC. And this is Batman 141, right? Chip Zdarsky continues to do a really good thing with this. Zur-En Ra, he's just beating down the Batman, all right? And read it, and you'll see what's happening there. But Zur-En Ra is a part of Batman that if he ever went rogue or killed somebody, was supposed to take over, or for the most part was at least there to do the things that he couldn't do. It's good. It's part of the Chip Zdarsky run though. So if you're gonna read that, I would recommend you starting from the beginning of the Chip Zdarsky run. Maybe even get the DC Universe app for a month and just read through that, or get trades. It's a lot. Superman Action Comics 1061, right? Jason Aaron is taking over this run. Bizarro Part 1. It's a really good read because Bizarro's learned magic, and Bizarro he's done a thing, and he's basically going to turn Metropolis into Bizarro World. And you feel bad for Bizarro. I mean, he's the villain in this book, but man, you see what trials and tribulations he's been through, and you're like, oh man, Bizarro, I'm sorry. Superman number 9, Joshua Williamson wrote this one, right? Redondo did the interior art, and yeah, Superman is he's in a fight. I think this is the one. Yeah, this is the one right after he gets like blown away with kryptonite and infected, and he's got like a super suit, and he gets sent back in time to the West, and we got Superman of the West. Alright, and it kind of ends on like a cliffhanger because you think Superman's a bad guy, but no, he's just doing it for the right reasons. And you find out this week why. Spoiler, sorry. Catwoman, number 60, Feast of the Flamingo. Catwoman fighting the Flamingo, who happens to like to eat people. Catwoman. This is also part of the 9 Lives, part 2. So Catwoman, after fighting with Vandal Savage, ends up getting 9 lives. And she wants to use those 9 lives to challenge herself, to do things she's never done because she knows she can die multiple times. Figures that out in part 1. And she knows how many lives she has because it's like marked in claws on her back, like tattoo claws, I guess. It's interesting. The last issue was brutal. We'll get to it, but it was part of this week's read. I was worried that Catwoman was losing some of its steam and wasn't going to be wasn't as intellectual or just as challenging as other books, right? And not the comic books need to be challenging, but Catwoman is, meow. So you don't want to. Sometimes you just don't want the book to lose itself. So Tini Howard did a really good job of making Catwoman relevant. All right, let's continue on. We got Batman Off-World. We're almost done with the old stuff, and then we'll get to this week's books. Batman Off-World number 2. Batman is Off-World. Another Jason Aaron book, punching aliens in the face, trying to figure out how to beat these aliens that have shown up in Gotham. So he's like, I need to do some research. What's the best way for Batman to do some research, to go find the aliens and integrate himself, and then try to defeat them, find ways to beat them up. And then we got Batman Detective Comics 1080. All right. Yeah, they're trying to take Batman out, right? They're trying to erase Batman from Gotham, the Orgums, so that they can, rule Batman themselves. Orgums replace the Waynes, and they're free to have their way with Gotham. They've even brainwashed pretty much Gotham into believing that a public hanging of the Batman is the right thing to do. All right, let's move on. We got Catwoman number 51. All right, these are the new books. So we got Catwoman number 51. In this issue, to challenge herself, she goes to a nuclear power plant that's exploded and wants to steal some of the stuff in the core, and basically gives herself radiation poisoning. And it is bad. The stuff that happens, if you get radiation poisoning, let's just say teeth fall out, you get boils. I was like, ooh, Catwoman. All right, here we go. Superman number 10. This takes, like I was saying, we got Superman in the West. He gets sent back in time, right? What's her face? Something Moonlight. Yes. Forget her first name. Moonlight gets sent back with Superman. Marilyn Moonlight gets sent back in time with Superman. They form a dynamic duo in the West, figure out a way to get back home. You can read the book to figure out that. And then Superman's like, he figures out that Marilyn she died a long time ago. So now she's like kind of like a ghost, and somebody brought her ghost back. And he's like, I'll find out who did it so you can rest again. Guardians of the Galaxy number 10. All right, the Spartaks don't like the fact that Groot went through destroying things and then was like, it wasn't really destruction, it was rebirth. They're mad about that. So, and Star-Lord's sister wants to rule the galaxy, if you will. So they're after the Guardians of the Galaxy, trying to destroy Grootfall before everybody can be resurrected and come back to life. So there you go. Guardians are protecting stuff, and that's what the Guardians of the Galaxy do. It's a good read. Good writing, good art, or great art. So I like the art, for me personally. It's stylized though, so not everybody might like it. Next up, we got Star Wars: The High Republic number 3. All right, in this one, you got Kev Trennis. Anyway, she was a Padawan back in the first volume. Skier, her mentor, her teacher. Basically, he was thought dead after the Starlight Beacon gets blown up. In the Star Wars universe, in the High Republic universe, they find out that may not be true. He may just be locked behind enemy lines, behind the hill territory, right? Which is very hard to get unless you have this path drive or path engine that you have to put in your ship, and that gets you past like their force field. Anyway, she finds that out, retrieves the ship from this baddie here, Lorna D, and also from the original first volume. Anyway, gets the ship back, and all the Jedi are like, come on back home, and she's like, nope, I'm going behind enemy lines to find Skier. So it's a good book, and it's a good callback to the first volume, right? They brought it full circle now. Everybody's kind of been in this fight for a long time, and these characters, have developed this relationship, and they're all very close. Next up, right? We're still in Marvel, and I think we're gonna end with we're gonna end with the Indies. It's Daredevil number 4. We talked more about it, but Daredevil number 4 came out like a month ago. Daredevil number 5 came out this week. I was behind an issue, so I picked this one up to read it. It's good. Bullseye's causing problems, so and the kids in the orphanage are still getting in trouble, and Matt's still a priest, and there's still demons infesting people. So here we go. Next up, we got the Amazing Spider-Man Gang War. This is issue number 42. This doesn't really happen. Yeah, he does get kind of beat up, right? But Lonnie does get beat up a little bit, but not by Spider-Man as it appears here, or even the Beetle. Yeah, no, that doesn't happen. But basically, at the end, you got the crew, right? The female Sinister Six version, I guess, or whatever they call themselves these days, going up against Madame Mask and it's like really like a whole showdown. And then you got Spider-Man, right? You got Tombstone, and you have She-Hulk, and there's probably somebody else in there I'm forgetting. And they're like, well, we got to break this up. I really just think it's She-Hulk and Spider-Man, actually. And, you know, Tombstone's trying to keep his daughter from, you know, this life. And things are not going the way they want to. So at the end of the comic, there's a big spread where a bunch of people are ready to fight. So we'll see where ASM 43 goes. Now we're switching gears. All right, we're going to end off with the indies from Image. We have The Deviant, right? We talked about James Tynion and some of his other books. And now we got The Deviant. We also had Deviant number 2 in there, in that big pile somewhere. Good. You know, what's good about this is, you know, like I said, he'll give you a little, and I don't know if I said this already in this video because it's so long. This is going to probably be a two-parter, by the way. He gives you a little bit, but you still want more, right? It's like just a taste, just a morsel. Like you go to one of those fancy restaurants and it's like, oh man, I wish I can get more, but it's not a lot. That's what he's doing with The Deviant, right? This like psycho thriller. It's giving you just a little bit, and you're like, oh, give me some more. Let's get there. And I think part of it is like you really don't know who this killer is. What is going on? Who is this guy? And there's some old cops who were on the case. One of them actually got hit in the face with an axe. And they see on the news what's happening, and they're like, let's roll. And it looks like they're retired. So you got like a whole nother cast of characters, and they don't seem like good guys, right? They just seem like those guys, those ignorant dudes. Last but not least, this was a really good read. I'm really excited what Skybound and Image are doing. This is Cobra Commander number 1, right? We get the background story to Cobra Commander in this one. If you check out the art, you got the Transformers, right? And their ship, right? Teletran 1 is crashing, boof, right down to Earth. So that's a good way to mix both things. That's why I got this cover. That's why I got cover A. But Cobra's in here, and Cobra's like about the science, right? But this is a civilization that relies on organics. To the point where they shun all the technology. And we see in this book, right, spoiler, Megatron was captured by Cobra, right? Cobra's got him locked up. And that causes like a big kind of civil war thing that happens in here. Cobra gets like blown up, gets brought back to life, or gets healed only so they can try to kill him again. He gets out of there and, you know, gets his way, and now he's in the real world. Yeah, good read. Check it out. If you're not reading the Anna John first stuff, you're missing out, especially if you're a big fan of that Generation 1 Transformers and G.I. Joe stuff. Like, that is really a callback to all that stuff. They are living in that universe. All right, comic fans, we are done. If you like what you saw, that was my comic haul and comic review for this week, plus like the last 3 weeks. We did a lot. This is going to be a two-parter, so we're going to break it down. Part 1 will be today, and part 2 will be tomorrow. So check it out, all right? Do what you do. I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to get ready for next week's books. Peace. All right, let's get into the comics. So, rewind. If you're into statues, check out next week, all right? We unboxed in October the Spider-Man 2 Collector's Edition, and I just got around to releasing that video, or finishing the editing on that video. So we're gonna release that on Wednesday, all right? This upcoming week, right? So if you're watching part 2, this is Saturday, and we'll be doing it on Wednesday. So you got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. All right, peace. I picked up some ratio variants, and we're gonna get it on. What's up, comic fans, and it's time for that new comic book talk. What's up, comic fam? What's up, comic fans? I gotta turn off the fan. What's up? Plus review, we're gonna go out. We're gonna go. Couple comics.